All right, commissioners, your meeting is live.
Good morning. Welcome to the July 28th meeting of the Riley County Commissioners. Please stand and join the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
All right. Good morning, commissioners. I'm Shannon, and I'm here on behalf of the county counselor's office today. So Jacob is in court this morning. He will be in later for his admin time. But he had asked if we could ask the board to please amend the agenda and add an additional item for the Make My Move contract onto Jacob's time at 9:55 a.m.
And I'll speak briefly on that during the comments.
Okay.
Yeah, fine with that.
Great. Thank you, commissioners.
Just agree by consensus.
Yeah. Good morning, commissioners. Vivian Leva, Public Information Officer. I just wanted to read a note that we received from the American Red Cross about the success of last week's Battle of the Badges Blood Drive. It's the 22nd annual Battle of the Badges Blood Drive. And sad to say, EMS did not win the trophy this year, but the community won. And I'll just read the note from her. She says, first, I'd just like to say thank you for your partnership, participation, and support each year at the Battle of the Badges Blood Drive. I cannot tell you how much I value the support of each department. Your excitement and energy helps encourage those in the community to roll up their sleeves during the summer months to ensure blood is on the shelves for those in need. This year's goal was 145 pints, and I am excited to announce that we surpassed that goal and collected 163 life-saving pints of blood. I know that I say this every year, but summer is truly a hard time for us to collect blood, and you all come through for us every year, and this year was no different. So for the votes, EMS came in third with 35 votes. Manhattan Fire came in second with 50 votes, and the 2025 winners of the Battle of the Badges is RCPD, bringing in 70 votes. So congratulations to RCPD, and she thanked us for all that we do. Just wanted to give you that update.
It might be a good time to add. I was going to put it in my comments, but I had so much to add in there. I wasn't going to, but
Yeah.
My last donation during our blood drive back in June went to Puerto Rico, of all places. So my blood's going international for all it's worth. I just, yeah.
That's neat.
So I usually go someplace in the Midwest, like Baylor Medical Center, Michigan, Missouri, but this one went all the way to Puerto Rico. So
Do they tell you when you're doing?
yeah, they do. What's great about the American Red Cross is when you sign up on there, you can do a rapid pass, and they track everything from the beginning all the way to the end. So you get to actually know where everything's going. They don't tell you specifically the person, obviously, but yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And they've made the process really, really easy to do. The only worst part about it is just when they stick you with the needle. Everything else takes about 8 minutes for me. And actually I've gotten down to 5 minutes on a couple of occasions. So can't be any better than that. So, and yeah, congratulations to everybody at Battle of the Badges too. Send some pictures. Okay. Well, that wasn't supposed to be part of my comments, but I'll just start there. I guess I got a lot to say. Sorry about Thursday. Still don't exactly know what happened, but there's going to be discussions about it nonetheless. Start off, I guess, back to last Monday. Amanda Webb, myself, Jacob Hansen did speak with Darren Solden, the Economic Development Director from the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce, discuss the contractual agreements and logistical arrangements involving the Make My Move contract and the state grant application. We ended up meeting on Friday. I'll talk about that a little bit more here just down the road. Looks like we're going to be okay with that. Going to have to do some logistical things to make all that work, but
They're going to contribute or?
they're going to be able to help out. Yeah. Yeah, they've got everything on the website and all the professional assistants that should be able to work with that. We'll have to do an MOU separately outside of the contract. That's probably the only provision that's just a little bit different. Also, Monday had several meetings with constituents from around the district to discuss various topics, including the 2026 budget, elections, both this year and next year, concerns with Fort Riley and K-State, questions on various projects and future projects, the recent RHID process and votes. Always enjoy those conversations. Everything was pretty civil. Look forward to moving ahead into the future on all those different items. Fort Riley discussion is one that maybe we need to add a little bit more depth to. I think a lot of people aren't really understanding what's going on there, even though a lot of our troops are moving around, but most of that's training. So it's not like we're losing anything. It's just got to do what they got to do to prepare for worst case scenarios. So Tuesday afternoon, attended the monthly board of directors meeting on Pawnee Mental Health. Of course, that's via Zoom for me. Those meetings are up in Clay Center. Before the general meeting, I did have my normal finance oversight committee meeting, which I'm also a part of. I had some questions in regards to the June agency financials. General meeting items included new introductions, approval of the June board minutes, patient resources program report from Teresa Lorenz, chief financial officer's report from Lindsay Miller, as well as the report from the finance oversight committee, chief executives officer's report from Mike Riskella, and a patient portal update. A lot going on with that. I know he kind of talked about it when we see it in here on his update. It's kind of a moving target at this point in time when you change systems, as we're finding out currently. Takes a lot of time and effort. So a 2024 safety update, a marketing and development report, and a CCBHC advisory board report. Other business included asking for volunteers to help distribute city and county sign-up sheets for Recovery Month proclamations, which will take place in September. Tuesday evening, I listened in on a telephone town hall conducted by Senator Roger Marshall and his Washington, D.C. staff. Got an update on everything they're working on and possible legislative items that will be coming up on Capitol Hill throughout the fall. He also answered a series of questions by those that were on the line to complete that town hall. Went a lot faster than I thought that was actually going to. Also Tuesday evening, watched bits and pieces of the Manhattan City Commission meeting. There were several items of interest I wanted to listen to, stay caught up on as they work through their respective processes. And then on Wednesday, I attended the Kansa United Way's Community Investment Day up at the K-State Office Complex and the Rock and K's event space that this will be seeing later today with the intergovernmental meeting. It was an opportunity to hear from the 20 agencies that provide services and programs that's in line with the vision of Kansa United Way, and then they're in the service area. It's not just Riley County, of course. Each agency had 15 minutes to present their request and 5 minutes to answer questions. There's over 500 grand in total requests and just over 200 grand that's going to be available to each of those agencies. So a lot of work will have to be done there. All are worthy causes. Very impressed with the community turnout. It was a packed house. All different sectors from the business sector, public, private, so on and so forth. Like I said, all the seats were taken on that one. So pretty impressive if you ask me. Friday morning, myself, Amanda Webb, Jacob Hansen, Peter Lorenz from Make My Move, and Darren Solden from the Chamber. Several members of his team discussed the contract and application process. We'll discuss that during Jacob's time, so I won't go through it in large, but going to work through contract and the application. It's not in at the state yet. State is aware that we're going to put that in. You've got to have both of those in before they actually go in there. He'll explain that later. Going to have to do a separate MOU is what it looks like to work with the chamber. Probably look a lot like kind of a similar process of what we did in 2020 for the small business loan to the CARES Act. Obviously, we're going to have a longer time frame than we did then, but I certainly think that we can make that work out. So Look forward to seeing what that's going to look like moving forward. And then yesterday, finally, judged the baking contest once again for the fifth straight year, along with Tyler Jackson from the Lifestyle Manhattan magazine and Daniel Sukas, our Riley County Extension Research and Extension Director, I guess I should say. This year's entry were kolaches. Kolaches. I'll get that right eventually. They taste a lot better than they sound. Yeah. I was telling them, it sounds like a name for a band or something. I don't know. Anyway, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had 11 entries overall, so wasn't like 2 years ago where we had like 40 different cookies to taste and didn't eat cookies for 4 months straight. We had all different types of flavors, including cherry limeade, savory smoky pepper bacon, which was actually like a jam that was on there, which is amazing. I told her she's got to send me the recipe for that, or just send me a bottle. I can pay for that. That works. Yeah, peach with feta cheese. No, that doesn't sound good, but it really was good. Your standard traditional poppy seed. I've got a half a dozen of those back behind us there, so please try those because they're not going home with me. Our second place winner was Angie and Tabitha Baker, and our first place winner went to Megan Mosher. Really tough one to judge because I didn't know anything about them. Thank you to Daniel. Check, yeah, so he had a background on there and really knew how to actually look at all those and yeah, it really was a big help on that one, having that third judge this year. Packed house once again, had fun with that. So with that said, that's all I got. Sorry, that was a whole week.
Yeah,
Apologize.
okay, well, mine's a lot shorter. Friday caught up with some watering, paid bills, did a PT workout. In the evening, I did go over to the county fair at the fairgrounds. It was a fairly cool evening. Visited all the exhibits, including livestock, poultry, and projects on display in Powers Fall. And there were some really great ones. Photography displays were really good this year. And all those building block things, they really get really. Yeah, Corvettes. But anyway, listen, they're really big crowds. For the rodeo, there's a line going all the way across and, to get in, and then the WHE rides, we just passed. Hard to find parking place. And, it was a challenge for parking. Everybody's having problems, especially with the city construction. It's moved a lot of the horse trailer is over where people normally would park, and it was just, I finally found a spot over. Cool. It was good. So it was good. Saturday was the Irish sale at the State Garden. I got up early this time, ran over there.
What's that?
I don't know, I got a bunch and which was, I'll have to send some to my daughter, but there, I was able to get a really good selection. They have a lot more items. Two of them. And then later I went to lunch with friends at the Angular Brewing Company.
That's still places to try.
Then I did some housework and reviewed the agenda and documents for today's meeting. Didn't do a lot of stuff outside. It was really too hot. But weeds are down, taking over the yard. At least my garden. But I did review the agenda and documents of today's meeting. Had some questions on some things that I made some phone calls on. Anyway, that's it for me.
Last Thursday afternoon, the committee met to review the complex management remodel, the building permit process, and we're going to go ahead and apply for a building permit through the Manhattan system. Friday had a call, but I helped call to the weekend for someone situated about road county. It's just a trail now. how to get changed your going. I talked with John, so from that thing. Yeah, shot the township, we said, oh.
Or,
But, it may be better. A lot of, after a few calls, I was going to get involved. So it's not easy. And then Friday afternoon, right, no evening, it was going to be eat. Just more than. No, I didn't know.
No.
I mean, I think it's, yeah. But so I had a wonderful weekend. But other than that, it was a bad weekend. Yes. And
Ready for business? One item we have, Riley County Employee Action Volunteer Grant, rehire, volunteer firefighter, fire district number 1, all three police sign.
he just went off.
Huh?
Months ago.
Yeah.
we're never ready.
Yeah. Well, I knew he was, so I'm surprised he left. Like,
Thank you. Any changes to the minute, commissioners?
I wasn't even here on Thursday, so.
Okay. Well, I make a motion to approve the minutes as presented July 24th, meeting of the Board of Brown County Commissioners.
Second.
moved and seconded in minutes July meeting. All in favor?
How the tentative agendas look, commissioners?
August already, wow.
Yeah, I know. Any items for next week's press conference, commissioners?
I am gonna surprise you one of these days, I promise.
What?
I'm gonna surprise you one of these days, I promise.
Okay, no problem. Next, commissioners, you have Diane Creek at 9 o'clock.
26, by the way, Rich.
That's how many? It's a lot.
It's the football season.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you were back on kolaches. How many kolaches were there?
11.
11? That's not bad.
But no, we kind of, because there were 3 of us, we took one and cut them in 4s. Then we could look at part of it for presentation and worked out very well.
Yeah, no, it's getting better.
Hearing good things and I'm hearing bad things. So, let's see.
Like I told you originally, with my concern was.
And that's the bad thing.
It's close, I had right over Jersey, just something.
Like 3 days.
You could, yeah.
Well, you fans never do that to me.
I kind of remember the 1980s and,
They were always really pleasant.
yeah, they were really nice.
Losing.
1998 was fun. Nebraska fans went on that particular game. But
Yeah, it's. Got, that's what we've got, and it's UYU and UCF and St. Thomas. And there's a lot of fans, because visiting fans get to.
You know, he one of those friends.
Well, I will say this, I think I've said it before, but I was there at the 2003 game. We pummeled you guys up in Lincoln, but Nebraska fans were
Usually, most meetings.
Well, they were ready to send Frank Solich through the door after a 10-3 season, which still amazes me. I still think that's when everything went downhill, but not my problem. Yeah.
But I wanted to.
That's what I, it's every had, but 10-team conference, right? Maybe everybody was, but only has basketball, maybe regional. You know, that's not.
Yeah, TV doesn't care the thing. I don't have to stay up on a Saturday night and watch us play Utah at 12.
Yeah.
At 12 a.m. Doesn't work in the game.
Like, if they're in a seat, you know, then I don't know. Buy tickets. I mean, I know it, you know.
When
It's off.
for some reason, like August and September, Arrowhead, like just the way the stadium and stuff is set up, it's really hot. And I just don't think hot anymore.
You say the season game, I think mine's out. Played and the end of August. Yeah.
Iowa, the 1 year in 2000 was like 106.
Yeah.
We didn't have tickets, but we went up there to tailgate. It was just obviously you're on pavement, so it's even worse.
So I've been a 20, then year or two later, when we played on the championship game, but
That was freezing cold.
Probably they're pretty good, but everybody has all 3 layers of coats. Yeah, it got real tight.
Well, it's like that Miami playoff game a couple of years ago where Patrick Mahomes gets cracked and his helmet shatters. It's pretty cold when the helmet shatters.
The good news is the skill possessions are very skilled. That's the good news.
Yes.
Very good.
The unfortunate part is
My
you
biggest
have to have
concern.
somebody defending those skill positions.
My biggest concern is across the front.
Probably the
In
most
our-
talented of all of those players have medical concern.
Yep. He got released from it and he
Yeah. See. I still kind of concerns with the defensive line too, what that's going to do to the secondary. I don't trust the secondary and man to man.
the safeties are really good.
Yes, they'll come up and play a lot instead of in front, but can they cover?
They're going to a 4-man front this year.
Notice that, you know why, don't you?
Yeah, it's usually not a good sign.
Exactly. And it's amazing to me, because out of the secondary, you know how many members of the secondary are playing on Sundays? Not on a practice squad actually playing, but I don't know. I think it's scheme. So maybe going to a 4-man front is maybe what we should do. I don't know. We'll see. Big 12 isn't like the old Big 12 where it's completely wide open and down the field and, 80 plays a game. So,
I'm curious to see what's all going on with Dion. They're having a press conference and all of his medical staff's gonna be there.
Yeah.
That medical thing earlier.
Yeah, I know, I had heard, but his medical staff's gonna be there to answer questions and stuff. I don't think old Dion's doing very well.
Well, he didn't look really great towards the end of the season last year either. So,
And I'm really interested in the Texas Tech experiment.
Can you buy a team?
Mhm.
the what?
Can you buy a team? Maybe they had barrel of money this year.
The thing is,
A
with
lot of players.
That's my dark horse.
is like, can you buy an entire sports program? Because they sunk a lot into it to all.
Oh, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
We lost out on that 4-star wide receiver to Texas Tech.
Gosh, that hurts. That hurts. Like someone I know said, first game's important, but the next game with a short turnaround can be a surprise.
well, sure. Yeah, but he said, that's one thing. Did you say that Ron said he talked with the coaches and said, you don't want a week off afterwards.
Uh-huh.
You need to get right back into it.
I tell you, the one game that kind of scares me a little bit, and I'm gonna try to go, is the Army game. Just because the style that they play, it's that kind of wishbone, I formation and running quarterback. Oh, like I said,
It's kinda like-
you worry about the offensive line, I kind of worry about the
It's
defensive line.
Nebraska style football, you know, we've got 5 plays. We know our 5 plays really well. It's up to you to try to stop us.
That's a game that worries me.
That's how Nebraska was, and they were so good. They didn't do anything fancy. They were just better and bigger and stronger than everyone else.
Knock you down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when they played with Tommy Frazier against Florida in the Orange Bowl, where he literally took on 11 players from the defense and scored. Makes me mad because the next year they hired Bobby Stoops, who was coaching here to coach the defense.
That's what it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, all those old rivalries that are gone. That's what I
I know.
about it.
Wouldn't be so bad if they create new rivalries, but you just can't do that
Takes time.
geographically.
You know, even, Big 12 is, we don't play Iowa State next year.
28, I think it is. You play the next couple of years, and it's the third longest running rivalry in the country. And after 27, we don't play because of that. Texas and Texas A&M, for instance, same thing. And it's ridiculous. It's all TV.
So our schedule of things for TV.
And it's all money.
And you don't even, TV isn't really TV anymore.
Yeah.
That's
Scroll through and find which channels.
yeah. Man, I got like 8 different devices, so I can watch 8 different games. That's part of the problem too, to be honest with you. Yeah. It used to be the same thing with ESPN Plus. I'd wait till September, get it all the way through basketball season and then cancel it, but now it comes part of my Hulu package, so I'm just kind of got it now. I get that and I get NFL Red Zone, which is kind of nice. 7 hours of commercial-free football on Sundays. I literally in the fall, I can like go grocery shopping, get everything I need on Friday. And I can talk to absolutely nobody the rest of the weekend and I ain't fine. Exactly.
Dan, how you doing? Good.
Get a motion.
Oh, yeah, we sure can. I'll move to recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as the Board of County Health.
And second that.
Been moved and seconded to recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as the County Board of Health.
Good morning, Commissioners. Diane Creek, Health Department. I'm here for 3 things this morning. The first one is an out-of-state travel request for Danae Jones. She's the Raising Riley Early Literacy Facilitator, and she's wanting to go to Orlando, Florida in November from the National Association for Education of Young Children. And when she comes back, I've made a new rule where when they go to these conferences and they learn things that pertain to all the programs, then I expect them to share the information that they learn with all the rest of the programs as well. So we've created a folder in the Y drive that they can download whatever handouts they bring back. And then we'll have them give about a 15-minute presentation to the rest of the staff so they can share that information.
Orlando in November?
I think she should take
I
the
mean, it should
health
be like
director.
Anchorage, Alaska or someplace. I mean, come on.
I would go there too. So if I'd rather go there in July though.
You've spent quite a bit of time in Florida, so you're probably already.
I would love to go back to Orlando. Yeah, Orlando's awesome. So yeah,
If she's mobile by then.
yeah. We took that into account.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took that into account with the travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the out-of-state travel request for Danae Jones to attend the National Association for the Education of Young Children, their annual conference in Orlando, Florida.
Please tell me it's not at Disneyland or Disney World.
No, it's not. It's at a convention center.
That's a nice convention center they have there too.
Yeah, it is.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the out-of-state travel request for Danae Jones to attend the National Association of Education of Young Children in Atlanta. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
All right, this next one is another out-of-state travel request. It's for Chelsea Manwaring, who's with Raising Riley. She's the outreach coordinator. And Jenny Ebert, who's the opioid education and prevention specialist. And they are going to a Safe Kids PrevCon conference in October in National Harbor, Maryland. So it's another one I would love to go to, but yeah. So anyway, so this will be the same thing that they will be expected to bring information back to the other programs as well.
And I'm going to be in Virginia, I think, at that same time. So.
Like, awesome.
So, annual second conference.
Yeah. That's going to be a busy week.
Yeah. Well, I'd make a motion to approve the out-of-state travel request for the PrevCon conference in National Harbor, Maryland for Chelsea Manwaring and Jenny Ebert.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the out-of-state travel request for the PrevCon conference in Maryland for Chelsea Manwaring and Jenny Ebert. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
Is that PrevCon or PrevCon?
PrevCon.
PrevCon.
Yeah.
Is that an acronym?
It is, I think it's probably short for prevention.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, so the third thing that I have and the last thing that I have is that the health department wants to sign up for the Kansas Debt Set-Off Program. I've talked to you guys a couple times about that. So I contacted them and they have a form that you need to sign. So that's why I'm here again. What that will let us do is that any unpaid bills that we have that people are refusing to pay, we'll be able to submit those to the Kansas debt set off. And then if they have any income tax return, lottery winning, homestead tax, anything like that that's due back to them, then the state of Kansas will pay our debt off to us out of those funds. So so it's never been a huge debt set off revenue thing before any place else that I've ever worked, but at least it's something. Because right now we don't have anything. We send people bills, we call them, we send multiple bills. And if they don't pay, they just don't pay. But this will be another way to gather some revenue. And we'll start it with childcare licensing, actually. Our clinic, we'll probably use it in the clinic as well, but people who slide to zero will still slide to zero. We'll still set, if people have bills and they want to set up a payment plan, we'll be happy to set up a payment plan with them. Whatever it takes, we'll make sure that services don't suffer because of this.
Well, when they get these earnings or money into the state, are we first or are we just in line with the what is it?
I don't know. It probably just depends on how many other agencies are signed up with the debt set off. Because like if somebody has a income tax refund and they cross-check that with which agencies are set up with the debt set off, if we're the only ones, then we'll get the bulk of ours. Of course, Kansas keeps a percentage, so yeah. So
You might give a portion to each.
yeah, to each one, they might divide it up if there's multiples. Yeah,
My guess it's done by a formula done by population.
probably,
Really?
Yeah, it's my guess.
like everything else.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think.
Yeah, I know, I was gonna disagree.
Yeah, it's better than nothing.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and move to approve entering into an agreement with the Kansas debt set off program to help collect owed debt from the Riley County Health Department.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve. And yes, that our program, we don't, like, that over the thing up, all in favor.
Chair, please sign.
That's it for me.
Okay.
Next, Commissioner, you have Megan Lewis, 9:15.
You go out of. Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion that we recess as the Board of County Health and reconvene as the Board of County Commission.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to recess as the Board of Health and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners, all in favor.
You have the windows done yet? In your department?
You were actually on Monday morning.
Well, I wasn't trying to be funny, but okay, if you take it that way.
There,
I'm gonna take, that's not humorous, but,
there's a truck, they have windows on it.
okay.
That's the first.
I noticed it was boarded up. I don't know what they're using for that. It wasn't really boards.
It is, it appears to be on OSB boards to me, like.
Oh, okay.
All opening, so there's been a lot of progress in demolition.
Okay, well, I was on a call on Friday and it sounded like it was noisy in the counselor's department, so I thought they were doing something.
So they get our windows done on our section and then they will move that, so they're definitely.
I'm not sure how ready they are this morning, because I walked by the crew while they were standing outside, and the one guy was talking to someone, well, it's not, the window's not even out yet.
Oh.
So I don't know, they were,
There's so much for being back there in February. Then
they were sitting in our conference room and I was out here.
So there was a lot of crashing glass. You know, that they were hearing and kind of says,
Oh, did they drop one? No, we didn't hear that.
yeah, but I was stopped by up there, they was saying, oh, they've been here glass
We had a couple workers complain.
broke.
That's not cheap glass too. It's the low energy.
Maybe that was the old one, because I'm not.
Yeah, the old one.
Well,
They must be banging.
We don't have that.
yeah, I mean, that is what it is.
As long as no one's under it.
They get
Right.
impression of it.
They, you know what, I've got to give them credit, they have been so respectful, they clean it up for themselves, I mean, it's been a
Good.
positive process.
I think it's so easy to work with you, you have put security measures in and you gotta have a multi-step process, and everything done and being just very calm about it. I mean, our staff is more worried about just inconveniencing them than they are, they said, oh, we depart right away, we work in.
They're used to all that.
They do a lot of churches and stuff when it comes to stained glass. Windows. Yeah. So they know what they're doing.
I thought I was this close to getting, riding the lift,
It's really not all it's cracked up to be, I promise.
Speaking of workers comp,
At the same time, it was actually bad. And I heard one of the old windows like crashed into the dumpster, and it was such like a satisfying, like massive breaking and crash.
they said that they do that, don't they do those things where you can go and break things for satisfaction?
Yes, freezers. Pretty.
Therapy.
I have back when I was in a theater, at school, like they have a crash box. If there's like somebody breaks a glass on stage or breaks a window or something, there's like this plywood box with glass pieces and stuff in it that somebody off stage is carrying, and when the glass breaks, you drop it and it has a big crunch. And that thing was fun if you were having a bad day. Just slam down the box.
You didn't have to be the person that was assigned to that, you could do it.
I just.
I don't think I have a room big enough for one of those.
It's just a little, like the size of a box that you'd like step up on for the gym. Well, we just crunch it. We have told it charge multiple times, 2 days, that would be great for employee. Like, so we need nap pods. And we need a break for it, or somewhere where we can straight for like a couple minutes and then go by.
nap pods. Nap pods?
Definitely come to work on Friday and I had a nap pod. Working Friday anyhow.
Definitely time for me to retire.
Well, they have one of those in the Atlanta airport, you know, but I'll tell you what, I went in there, I spent, but.
They need one in a fair.
$74
They really need that.
Go in there and lay, and the cushions were about this far. And, they didn't have any soundproofing. So what a racket this is.
Yes.
But it's fun to stay.
Yeah, that's what
I've seen that done once, but I was traveling, got stuck, and I had a little luncheon with me, and he was a toddler, and he was crabby, and I was exhausted, and it was working. So that one, I need to, like, we slept, we did not hear how hard it was. It was quieter than the, few cars on the floor. So, yeah, there's time and place, and like, but you're not, you're right, second vision.
Well, I laid there and I'm going, well, I heard these kids screaming in the airport. I heard the announcer on, this plane was leaving. I mean, it was just like, what's some sound walk in there.
I don't remember, I remember thinking, like, just a little bit ahead of me. But again, traveling with father,
Oh,
sure.
And they need a break. Because I was in the airport for like 5 hours.
Okay. Good to see. Get out there, slept there before, maybe. I think of it.
Elijah was probably thinking, thank God we had that, mom was really crabby.
They were like, well, okay. But
Send him there.
Well, Megan, I don't know how you're gonna top all that, but
You know, it makes me so nervous. I'm not sure I can compete. Good morning, Megan Lewis, Community Corrections Director. I have to get used to this different layout. It's kind of, okay. So I'm here today, first off, to cover our monthly staff update. Make this bigger. There we go. Okay. So for the month of June, we had 12 intakes, and those were all in Riley County. 2 of those individuals were returned to their parent or guardian. 1 was placed with a family, friend or relative. 1 protective home was utilized, and then 3 were placed in an emergency shelter. 1 went back to DCF or foster care, and 4 were placed in detention. I can tell you, a little humor. We had our monthly staff meeting, and I may have said, guys, knock on wood, intakes have been pretty low. We have had more intakes already for the month of July than we did in the month of June. So
taught yourself a very important lesson.
I knew we needed to anticipate it was going to happen. So let's see, for our immediate intervention program, we served a total of 67 individuals. 48 of those were participants, 14 were required jurors, and then 5 volunteer jurors. None out of Clay County. For intensive supervision, we had 14 total that were supervised by our ISO. 7 of those are in the community on intensive supervision, 4 in the correctional facility, 1 on conditional release, and then 1 that's been courtesy supervised out, 1 that is supervised out through interstate compact. And none in Clay. And then for adult intensive supervision, we're staying at our average number of 100. We've been really close to 100 throughout the year. And for a total of 106, with 1 in inpatient treatment, 5 in jail. For recovery court, we had 16 participants in the month of June. 14 of those individuals were in Riley County, 2 were in Clay County. We have served a total of 58 participants since the start of the program. 18 of those have graduated from our Riley County Riley County Recovery Court, 7 from the Clay County Recovery Court. 17 have been removed or revoked for various reasons. We do have 2 graduations scheduled coming up. One is the 13th here in Riley County, and the other is the 14th in Clay County. A few other things. We did purchase our 2 new vehicles, and we are starting the process to sell 2 other ones. I believe Jesse is on the agenda here coming up to present to the commission to get approval to sell 2 vehicles. And then we are working on our city alcohol application for our grant for city alcohol funds. So we'll be in front of you shortly for that. As we were talking about earlier, window project is underway. I can't give enough kudos to IT. They made our move as seamless as possible. It's a transition, and we're definitely sharing space, but staff has not complained. We have windows for once, so that's kind of nice, just being able to see sunlight in a lot of those office spaces. So it's been a really smooth transition, and it's been going well. So
Did they open? I mean, maybe now's not the time to open them, but they open.
some of them, not all of them. Some of them shouldn't open.
Having a
Yes.
northern breeze come through.
We've had the opportunity to hear an individual get hit by a truck on a bicycle. You can clearly hear, clearly hear conversations down on the street on this, clear conversations. You hear what they're saying. And we got to enjoy some karaoke one drug testing session. Yeah, yep. Yeah, we were there till 6, and they were a little off key.
They're good people.
Yes, we'll finish. They were good people. Okay. The next thing I would like to talk about is our year-end outcome reports. We'll start with juvenile services. I'm out of order on my little notes here, but we'll start with juvenile services. So as the commissioners know, at the end of each fiscal year, we come out and we have to report out kind of our outcomes and how we did the year previous before we report back to KDOC. And for FY25, we had, for juvenile services intensive supervision, we had a 90% success rate. Let's see here if I can scroll. There we go. Well, I'm out of order. So we'll go with juvenile intake and assessment. We completed 201 juvenile intakes in fiscal year 25. Out of those 201, 48 intakes,
21 out of 48 or 44% were for juvenile offenses. 19 or 91% in the fourth quarter were for new arrests out of the original. So meaning they didn't have multiple arrests in FY25. And a total of 96 out of 201, 48% were for juvenile offenses in the entire year, and 86 out of 96 or 90% of those were for new arrests. So they were not reoffending. We did complete in FY25 our memorandum of agreement with the Riley County Attorney's Office as well as the Clay County Attorney's Office to make sure that we're all on the same page, and referrals we're in agreement of what they're referring clients for and what we're serving, what clients we're serving in our intermediate program. Let's see. We'll scroll forward. Okay, so then we're on ISP. So we had a 90% success rate for our juvenile intensive supervision program. And of those individuals, we consistently provided them with what we call cognitive behavioral intervention tools, and a total of 32 tools were administered in FY25. In addition to administering those tools, we made an effort during each staff meeting to present a tool as a staff, and then all of our staff, whether juvenile or adult, would go out and they would administer that tool with clients so that they had more options and opportunities for new tools and new skills to deliver to our clients. We had an 83% compliance basically with our file audit with the case plans. So 5 out of 6 of those were in compliance, that they addressed moderate and high risk needs. 6 out of 7 or 86% of the file audits had YLSs that were entered into the Athena system within 5 business days. That's a pretty quick turnaround. So if you get a holiday or an office closure, there was one that we observed President Carter's passing, and then we had snow days. And so it was a little bit past that 5 days. So that was the one that was not in compliance. 71% of our case plan file audits were conducted within 30 days of assignment to community corrections. Let's see. Staff showed 100% compliance when it came to referring any clients that were on for any type of alcohol and drug concern or offense, making a referral to services that aligned with that. So whether that was an alcohol and drug assessment or treatment, 100% of those individuals did receive a referral for an appropriate resource. 5 out of 6 or 83% of file reviews completed showed that staff followed up with each of the service providers that they were referred to. Okay. As I sit up here and it's right in front of me and I look at it, I can't imagine how tiny it looks for you guys. Okay.
New windows.
It's bright because of the lights. It's hard.
So it's brighter for you guys than it is for me right here. I just keep looking thinking, oh my goodness. We talked about so one of the things that we do in response to violations with juvenile services, we call it a violation level report. And when you're completing that, we need to make sure that we're administering a cognitive behavioral information tool. And our staff had 100% compliance with making sure that they were utilizing tools and skills before they presented a violation to the client. So we have to submit that to the court, and they sign it and I sign it and the officer signs it, and then it goes to the court. And we make sure that we do some type of an intervention before that happens. Okay, kudos cards. I believe we had told you guys earlier in the year that we tried a new thing where we were delivering kudos cards, handing out kudos cards to clients as, and then basically improving our 4-to-1 ratio of positive reinforcement. And our juvenile services, our single juvenile services officer did hand out 57 kudos cards to clients for various reasons in FY25. So that's a baseline since we had never done that before. Okay. We are working to improve family engagement. It might not be a surprise, but sometimes families do not necessarily want to engage with us. Parents don't always follow through with referrals. They don't always show up to their kiddos' appointments. And so we're working really hard on improving that. We had, for our immediate intervention program for FY25, we had 73 participants, 66 out of 73, or a 90% success rate. And So that's a little bit different program. We did have 8 violation reports completed in FY 25 for our IIP program. And that's that same MOU and MOA that we completed with Riley County and Clay County attorneys, making sure that we all are on the same page about referrals, and that was done in FY 25. So that is all of our juvenile services outcome report. One thing I will say before we, is that KDOC decided this year, they started it in June and it's going to go for all of FY 26. They utilize some funds and they're going to do an outside quality assurance contractor that is going to every district in the state. They're going to conduct some quality assurance to ensure that we're conducting our assessments correctly, our case plans, our cognitive behavioral intervention tools. And so it'll be interesting to see how their scores line out compared to our in-house quality assurance. And that is all for juvenile services. I do have to get approval on that.
Okay. I would make a motion to approve the KDOC year 25 juvenile services year-end outcome report.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. KDOC fiscal year 25 juvenile services year-end outcome. Favor.
Chair, please sign.
Thank you. I go. Okay. The next outcome report that we will go over is our adult services. So for adult services, we had a success rate. You look at we had a success rate of 65%, 82 out of 126 that were terminated from probation successfully completed. That's a 35% revocation rate for various reasons, whether that was new arrests, multiple violations where they were sent back. That's what we had for our outcomes. Staff showed a 91% proficiency rate when it came to case plan quality assurance. And those results were both individually reviewed with staff one-on-one. And then at our monthly staff meeting, something that we changed is we had our ISO2 come in at once a month, and they would talk about kind of common themes. So what's going on? What can we improve on? What are we doing good with? What can you learn from your peers, basically? And that went over really well. Sometimes when it's one-on-one, I think people get a little bit defensive, but when you're talking about it as a team, it seems a little bit smoother and softer. We developed a new quality assurance form so that we are encompassing more, we are getting more information when we are completing case file reviews and our quality assurance on our risk needs assessment. We completed a agency-wide case plan training where the Kansas Department of Corrections came in and our entire staff, with the exception of Jesse, completed that training. They allowed our juvenile services officer to participate as well because there was no harm in having him hear that information, and that went over well. And we worked to implement that information that we received. In our cognitive education class, we had 13 participants that completed. Those individuals that successfully completed, those individuals showed an improvement on average for their criminal thinking scores from a 25.8 to a 20.1. And another change that we made in our COG class is that we moved that class to Thursday evenings in order to work with conflicting schedules. There's a number of providers in the community that already had services on Monday evening that we were conflicting with. And so we went ahead and moved ours to Thursday instead of Monday, so that way we could encompass more individuals. Our adult services staff provided 1,051 kudos cards to clients throughout the year to improve our ratio of 4-to-1 positive reinforcement. And they did a great job. At first, they didn't buy into the program. And then in the end, clients were super excited about it. They were responsive. And so our officers seemed to enjoy giving those out more. And again, what I talked about earlier with juvenile services, we reviewed cognitive behavioral tools every month at our staff meetings. And then our staff would go out, they'd administer those tools at least 2 times with clients and bring back the results and tell us what they liked about it, what they felt they struggled with, and what they needed help with. And that really sums up our adult services.
Need a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve the KDOC fiscal year 25 adult services year-end outcome report.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the KDOC fiscal year 25 adult services year-end outcome report. All in favor?
Chair, please sign.
Our last thing that I am here today to discuss is our agreement that we have with Kansas State University for Recovery Court. In order to receive the BJA grant back in 2022, we had to agree to having a third party evaluate our program. And we've had a contract with Kansas State University. And what I'm here today to get approval is to extend that contract for the extension period of our BJA grant that we were awarded in June. So that would go until March of 2026, March 31st of 2026. I did send that agreement to Jacob to make sure that he had a chance to overlook it and received his approval.
Okay. Go ahead and make a motion to approve the contract to extend the original agreement between Riley County Community Corrections and Kansas State University.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the modification of the agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
Megan?
Thank you.
9:35.
Commissioners, I did want to let you know I will be going on vacation starting Wednesday and I will return next Wednesday. Thank you.
No, I am, but
You're not going to Florida, are you?
Oh, but now we have to go to the south end because we don't.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Well, we have a big chunk of hours on it, correct?
Yeah, you can't just drive it around.
Well, the theory was, let's go to the west end, an additional, if you go to the south end, it's like 7.5 hours. Everybody should. And I'm not. You did, you know, the zip line, we tried it there.
Oh, yeah.
Our son said, you want to zip line, it's an absolute.
I just flew over it, and I flew over the whole thing, and it's,
Did you get a helicopter? The other way,
yeah.
you did. And did you get this?
Yeah, it was cool, yeah.
Are you guys flying or driving?
Well, we did it like mid-July, but it was really, really hot, but it's dry heat out there, so it's,
Humidity. and
yeah,
all that.
yeah.
I drove to Sedona / was Congo Falls before, and that highway, it gets a little dry, but the amount of semis that are on it must have been an absolutely hurting when I'm here.
It's hard switching.
What it does. Yeah, I saw this too, and I opened one, and come out, and don't see that.
You definitely get to see storms.
Yeah, we've never been to that. It's like. Minus the driving traffic.
Yeah. It's like once you get to the Flagstaff, it changes in the geography.
And that'll be new to all of us, so it'll be something to see. We'll see, hopefully it goes well.
Sure it will.
Weather changes too, it goes from dry to monsoon almost there.
Really?
Yeah, they get a lot of rain there, but they don't get a lot of rain in the States.
You know, reading up on everything, it's crazy the humidity, what they think high humidity is.
Yeah.
What shows us out here, it's so chunky.
You gonna catch yourself a scorpion?
So here, fried scorpion and. It's usually.
Nah, I didn't, but.
We had the grasshoppers in Mexico.
They're good. It's low on calories and high on protein.
They're weird. They're like thing you should try. But they have like a lot of texture to it. It's like sticky. When I say sticky, I'm like, oh, smoky. Like, no, it's
Crunchy.
It's crunchy. It's actually crunchy, but everything. It's like, oh, a dream lunch, but it wasn't exciting. You know, really, it's for a snack. It's like, so in Mexico, it's an appetizer and it's like.
Might go good with some ranch, maybe.
You're not even sure what else is.
Yeah, there you go.
You could be out of right. It's fried, it's crunchy,
Thanks.
it's salty.
When I built it, 16-foot jet, the outside elevator. Yeah. Other things, the wire cage, up and down.
I mean, I'm into trying. So that's why you got the food. I'm gonna say that. There's the tail. Got the food. You go there, you got.
Now, two reasons, I'll take the X-rays, I'll take the, out of my, goodness.
Oh, my lord.
Those are a lot of.
Is it something we should be looking at?
Change of names.
But,
Is it something we should be looking at?
Yeah, that's.
I've got
Oh.
No, thank you.
No, you can stop. You can stop.
Ready for Amanda?
Please.
Let's go on to something worse.
Yeah, let's talk comprehensive plan.
Comp
please,
plan, yes,
please.
All right. Good morning, Commissioners. Amanda Webb, Planning Director, here to talk about the comprehensive plan update and much more exciting topic. No offense, David.
I was good with the pride scorpions, but now that we can, yeah.
So a few things to highlight in my report today. Our next community workshop is coming up next Tuesday, August 5th. Oh. And I already put the wrong times in there because I also have a Keats thing that's at 7 o'clock. It should be 6 to 8 p.m. 6 to 8 p.m. for the comprehensive plan.
You're on Eastern time zone.
There you go. There you go. So for Central Time, it would be 6 to 8 p.m. Sykes venue up there in Leonardville, next Tuesday night, 6 to 8 p.m. I'll be talking about it again. Well, as you all know, I'll repeat myself many times over the next week. And I'll get that timing right, but
I put your name on my list for the.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Give you a chance.
Yes, I appreciate that. So Stan Tech will be there, of course. Several of them will be manning different tables because basically the intent of this workshop is to talk about our draft goals, get the community's review and input on those. So we'll have different tables kind of set around the venue with each of the different subcommittees, as you know, the six categories that we talk about. We'll have draft goals for those. And then we will also talk about the designated growth areas. We talked a lot here about evaluating our current DGAs, designated growth areas, and seeing what we can do to expand some of them. So
Is there certain criteria that's going into that?
Yes, and well, I'm glad you asked. We'll talk about that now. No, that's okay. So the designated growth areas. So a DGA is basically it's an area where development is encouraged. In Riley County, it's not a mandate. You can still put up a house or develop outside of a DGA, but a DGA is where it's more efficient to go, there's resources there, or you can expand resources there easier. So you're not, just kind of up in the middle of Nowheresville trying to get services up there, infrastructure, whatnot. These are areas that make a little bit more sense. That's why there are going to be the little areas around each of the small cities. There are going to be areas adjacent to and outside of the city of Manhattan. And we'll talk in a second about where some of those other ones are for Riley County. But again, we don't require development to go there. It's just areas that make a little bit more sense. And for us, our DGAs are generally, I don't want to say always, but generally in areas that are a little less conducive to agricultural. Because again, we want to make sure we are preserving that prime agricultural ground for agricultural uses. So these are areas that the soils or the slopes or those sorts of things are a little less conducive to planting. Of course, you might still be able to have some cattle or livestock, but you're probably not going to want to be planting a whole bunch in a lot of these different areas. So we're really kind of trying to find that balance between making sure, again, we preserve the ag, but we have areas for people that make a little bit more sense for people to develop in. So again, as you all know, each of the designated growth areas around the small cities that exist now, Leonardville, Riley, Randolph, and Ogden, we've had conversations with their representatives and staff from each of those small cities. Those are going to remain the same. That's based on, again, the input that they've given to us. They've had conversation with their city councils, their planning commissions, all of that. So those are going to remain the same moving forward. That's what they felt comfortable with, that they could serve or, again, evaluate into the future. That does not mean that in the next 15 years, remember this plan is for the next 15 years, that every space in their DGA is going to fill up. That's not what that means. And I know I heard from some folks from from a couple of the small cities that they were hearing from, residents in those areas, oh my gosh, that means it's going to fill up and we're going to be full. Probably not, but again, these are areas where it would make sense to develop and grow, because again, they have services or can expand their services. Their areas right along and around their city limits already. But there's no requirement or no guarantee that it's going to be full in 15 years. So just kind of want to point that out. Did you have a question, John? You're thinking.
It's turning.
Okay, just let me know.
Okay.
So the DGA that surrounds Manhattan and is within the urban area and within their comprehensive plan boundary, I'm gonna go down to my map, you can see part of it. Basically, what we're gonna do with our plan, with our update, is match what they have. The city of Manhattan already, again, has done their evaluations, they have their comprehensive plan, they have their urban area, their growth area, all of that. There really is no reason for us to come in and evaluate what's already been evaluated, essentially. They're at the table with us when we're doing this update. We're at the table when they do their update. So we're already collaborating on the areas in and around the city, their urban area and the comp plan boundary where growth is expected to occur. So there's no reason for Riley County to say, no, we disagree with that. Let's look at something else. They've already, again, done those evaluations, made those designations. So what we're going to do is right now, our designated growth area for Manhattan doesn't quite match. Again, our plan was adopted 2009 and City of Manhattan's most recent comp plan was 2015. And I do think they're working on an update now. So we're basically just going to match what they have. So the designated growth area along Manhattan is going to expand in our plan, but really it's just going to match what's already there. So it's going to seem like we're doing more. Does that make sense what I'm saying? We're just going to match what's already been designated by the city. So ours is going to appear to grow, but really it's already in their plans. So we're just kind of matching and fortifying what they've already evaluated and what they've already been doing. Does that make sense what I'm explaining?
It does, but I think there's still some areas just outside of that, that's in that urban area that's still county related that we may have a different idea on,
Okay.
may not match the city.
Yeah, and I mean, those are, if you would like to have those conversations, we definitely can, with the city. Again, they've had these areas designated, bless you, for about 10 years since they've had their plan done, and we as in Riley County, and I know it was before all of you were here, but
They did an update to that comprehensive plan and
I think they've been,
21.
I'll have to talk to Stephanie.
Columbus, Ohio, something to do.
Wasn't that the planning next? Didn't they do their strategic plan?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say in that time, yeah, so it's two different things, but I have been chatting with Stephanie, we keep in contact about a variety of things and they are looking to, again, partake a full update, kind of like we're doing now, since their plan's about 10 years old, so.
I don't. Just kind of broad look at that 30,000 foot view. I don't see either one of them being terribly night and day difference, but.
Right, yeah. Yeah. And remember again too, that the designated growth area doesn't say this is it. This is the only place growth can occur. This is the only place thing. And it's also not, an automatic, oh, here's your permit over the counter. We still do evaluations. We still do land use petitions. There are still approvals and review processes that need to take place. This is just trying to identify areas that make a little bit more sense for people to target development. To target putting a house or even more than one house, maybe a small subdivision like Mr. Blecka did a few years ago. So again, it's not.
That within the urban area?
It is in their comprehensive plan boundary, the red,
Yeah.
but it's not within their urban area. So, and we'll talk in a second about how we're going to look at expanding another one of our DGAs to kind of incorporate some of that, but so again, it's not an automatic, well, you're in the designated growth area, so here, here's your auto approval. There's still processes that we need to go through. Some things won't necessarily still be approved, but it's going to be an area that's, again, making that distinction between, well, we don't want to do a big development because this is prime ag soil over here and crops and all of that sort of stuff. So again, nothing is set in stone, nothing is done until this is done, if that makes sense. So
If there's more you folks want to look at or want us to look at, we can definitely do that. This is just what's proposed right now. So then popping back up a little bit, I don't know if I'm gonna come over here.
But this, you guys can see it, but this dash line here. Along the lake, as it goes down there right now, so again, we're being actually already there, like I was about in here, so they'll get into that growth area down there. But this is what's a current designated growth area along the lake. It's pretty limiting, so basically was just kind of drawn. There's a lot of development down there already, of course, because a lot of that area was platted in the 50s, 60s, 70s.
But it's all residential mostly. right?
Yeah, it's all residential. And the designated area necessarily just limited to residential, and that's something we'll look at as well, evaluating where, because there's gonna be areas that, allowances for commercial are gonna make sense. Not here, but, down, here we already have, the shops are in and around here, we have land that's already zoned industrial, things like that. But along the lake, yes, that's all already residential. But what's happening up there is actually fairly difficult to develop because of the slopes, because of the small lots. We have to have people put their lots back together so they can fit a private wastewater system, because we don't have services out there. A lot of the roads are up to par or there. So we don't want to encourage development just along here because it's still actually fairly limiting. So we're looking to see if we can bring it, how far over here we can bring it. That would make a little bit more sense, again, based on infrastructure now and what might be thought of for the future. And that infrastructure includes, of course, roads, your water, sewer, all sort of stuff. We need to look at, if we have major slopes, which there are some slopes going on over there. We don't want to encourage growth on, in a ravine, that's not, conducive. There's CAFOs all around there, confined animal feeding operation. We don't want to encourage growth near those. That is an incompatible use. And there's also some kind of conservation areas over there. So this is the area that makes the most sense for us to evaluate expanding that current designated growth area along the lake. One along the lake is too restrictive. It definitely needs to be bumped out, but we want to be strategic about how we bump that out. So that's what we are looking at right now. There's also a lot of different areas where there's already development. There's already a lot of homes in certain areas. So we're considering that. But once we got to talking about it again, small cities don't want to change. Going down south, Ashland, Zingdale doesn't make a whole lot of sense to look at that. Zingdale has a lot of prime ag areas. And again, the Manhattan comp plan and designated growth areas does go down and around and already incorporate a lot of that. So again, we would just match that. But this is the area that we're looking at, that we're evaluating to expand into. And so again, that'll be one of the topics at the community meeting next Tuesday, that we'll talk with people who come to the meeting. We'll talk with them about, and of course, it'll all be out there on our site and everything. We've been talking staff internally from planning and development and GIS, and actually Mr. Blecka, he did ask to be a part of our conversations evaluating expanding designated growth areas. So we appreciate his interest. He has come for a couple meetings with us to kind of talk about, just share some ideas, share some thoughts, based on what we can propose to expand. So make sure the other thing, so Stan Tech is working on a couple different things. In their scope of work, they did include some different growth scenarios. So what we talked about, and I'm away from it. What we talked about is letting them do a scenario just along down here, what perhaps some commercial industrial would look like, some residential, that kind of thing. It's very unlikely that we're gonna ever really have super dense development much out here. So we'll just look down here and it's just some, I'm sorry.
Is that the only one they did?
They haven't done anything yet. That's what we're talking about with that.
Because that's part of their scope of work is doing some different growth scenarios with us. And again, it's just giving people an idea of what things could look like. That doesn't mean it's going to look that way. It doesn't mean that then we have to go that way. It's just kind of giving some different visual scenarios to what different areas could look like. And so we'll have them kind of do, again, within these different areas, kind of differing levels. Because again, we're not going to have the hundreds and hundreds of subdivided lots, teeny tiny lots out here where, you have the houses like the development within the city. We're just not going to have that. But we do want to see what something would look like if, again, we're going to expand the DGA, what something a little bit denser would look like. Just again, give us those scenarios to think about. Because if it's something we want to encourage, we'd want to, again, incorporate that into our comp plan, and we'd want to incorporate some zoning changes to support that. So that's, again, just information for us to look at, different scenarios. If there are other areas you folks think you'd like to look at, they have several growth scenarios in their scope that they said they would do for us. It's just us telling them where we want to look. So if you have other ones.
18.
Okay, 18. I don't have the whole map here, but in what area and specifically?
Maybe basically the airport
Okay,
region.
yeah. And we did talk about that. The K-18.
It's back to residential for housing. Might be contingent too on how the cost benefit analysis for ends up working out.
Right.
Tend to think that that's gonna be where that shift's gonna be for that second connection.
Yeah.
I might know.
Well, and again, all of these are just scenarios. This is just looking at what could possibly be if we want it to be that way and getting an idea from the community. What do you think about these areas that we're targeting? How are you thinking about that basically? So, and then if it's something, we're getting input from the community. Yeah, that makes sense there. I like that idea. And you folks are comfortable with it. Then again, that's how we would write in certain things into our comprehensive plan update to encourage those sorts of things to happen in those areas. And then zoning changes would support that. And then we'd start encouraging certain development in those areas. So that doesn't mean, again, that, we're going to get all of it happening, even in the next 10, 15 years, but that's what we can do to encourage that stuff to happen in certain areas. So if you think of any other areas you want to look at, let me know and I can pass that to Stan Tech and they can do those scenarios for us. And I'll bring all that information to you folks, of course. Okay. And I think that's pretty much all I have. Did you have any questions or comments? Thank you very much.
And next one, we have Jacob Hanson, 955.
Okay.
All right, good morning, Commissioners. Jacob Hansen, interim Riley County Councilor here. Before we get to the Make My Move contract that we amended this morning, I'll just go over briefly my project list. Nothing too interesting to add on here. I will note, as of this morning, we have set one of our criminal nuisance abatement cases for trial. So we are proceeding full force in some of these. And then others, I have gotten diversion agreements out. So
Are we gonna need to be in the process of getting that renewed next year?
my understanding, I thought the case would be until 2027. We have that SB, whatever, 134, 230. Because we got it for 3 years, is my understanding.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it. We got it for 3 years. So we're still looking good on that.
Yeah.
And so at the very least, we'll hopefully have a conviction by before the end of the year.
Also, that they might not need it again.
Yeah, it's possible. Very, very possible. Like I said, I got a couple.
You shouldn't do that. Yeah, I agree, but.
Right. And I got, like I said, a couple diversion agreements out. One attorney's going to look it over and the other one is unrepresented. And so I'm giving him plenty of time and stress to him, please take this to an attorney, please review it, make sure you understand everything. But everything is moving forward pretty well, I'd say. That the one we just set for trial, of course, it's a public case, so that would be Kilner. He is set for trial in November 12th. So, and he's one that the county, of course, has become very familiar with the last 15 years or so, give or take. With that, there's not too many other, real pertinent updates unless you guys have any questions on any of the particular projects I've been working on. Okay. All right, moving on, we'll go to the Make My Move contract, and I got copies here for the commissioners, of course, and I got 3 total copies. Hopefully, you'll notice there's 2 separate documents. There's the contract itself, and then there's our standard contract provisions that usually go with it. We had a discussion with the Chamber of Commerce on Friday, myself, John, and Amanda, to try to get an idea of what the chamber's obligations are going to be. We kind of try to figure out maybe what would be the best course of action. Ultimately, we've decided to do 2 separate agreements. So you're going to have one contract here between us and Make My Move, and then it'll be an additional agreement, an MOU with the Chamber of Commerce to, provide those overhead type services that Amanda would be inevitably in charge of. One thing I do want to make sure is very clear is that part of our discussions, I suggested that we do a 3-party contract. So that way, when we do the agreement, that the chamber is on the hook necessarily. But since we're not going that route, if the chamber, for whatever reason, was unable to perform the services or not, which we don't really have any indication why they wouldn't, but just to advise you guys, we would still be on the hook. Amanda is ultimately on the hook if for whatever reason that fell through. And that's the way this contractual relationship is going to pan out. Of course, we probably try to find somebody else if that were to happen. But again, by signing this, ultimately Amanda's on the hook. Now, I also thought kind of ahead of time, if for whatever reason that did happen, in between now and when we got the grant application, the grant was actually accepted. And we would accept the money. We could potentially just do a termination. Contract allows for that. You do a 90-day termination, stop all processes right there, and then everything, and we deny the grant and move forward, and everything should be fine legally. So we have avenues to get out of it if we need to get out of it. But that's why I'm here before you today. I would ask the board make its decision on whether they like to go ahead and accept or execute the contract with Make My Move, which includes our standard contractual provisions.
And I may add one caveat to that. Make My Move has been talking to the Department of Treasury, and the Department of Treasury is aware that we have an application pending and are working through these processes, so they're aware that we're going to tentatively apply for based off of the contract. So once the contract's assigned, application will go in retroactive to where we started from. So
Right.
they're going to be reviewing those here shortly in the month of August, and it's not a guarantee, but they're aware that we're in motion.
Yeah, and I should note that they have not submitted the application yet. They want the contract in place prior to that. And so that's why we're here on an expedited process.
Need a motion.
We do, please.
I guess I can go ahead and make a motion then to sign the Make My Move contractual agreement and all applicable things that go along with said contract.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the Make My Move contract and attachments. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign. Thanks, Jacob.
Very good. Thank you. Unless anything else the commissioners would like to ask or discuss before I get off?
Well, you might kind of explain where we're at in the MOU process with the chamber.
Yeah, I believe myself and Amber have a meeting tomorrow with the chamber, Darren, and another individual, Allison, I believe. And we're gonna go over just the details of what exactly they're gonna be doing. So that way we can put that in MOU and we're all on the same page. So hopefully we'll have that MOU. The plan is to have the MOU to you guys ASAP as well. So it's in the works. Really just got to figure out those minor details and put in an agreement.
I think it'll probably mirror in some ways the same MOU we had in place in, I guess I'll say fall of 2020. I mean, the exact timeline is that when we did the small business loan with the CARES Act money. I know Rich remembers those days. Stacks and stacks of signatures. We'll be on the same 90-day timeline, obviously, but we'll have to plug in some different language and different metrics and logistics, but it'll be similar to that. So I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, okay. It should be a pretty simple MOU.
Yeah.
All right, well, nothing further. I'll leave it be.
Everything, I've got several photos. But got an email, the R&R benefit districts, are those of the same kind as ours, or do they?
Yes.
And somebody asked me about one of them, I didn't know. We didn't all at the same time.
So really will be the ones that levy taxes. So.
You need to for someone else. That will be funds that they find. And somebody asked me something, but I didn't know if they had separate ones for those benefits, but no, they're not next together. No.
September 4th.
And then also just, I know we've been tied up in budgets forever.
Feels like it, yeah.
We need to go back to the counselor's office and start moving forward on that. You know, what our next step is there, I think. We get it. You know, instead of interim, getting the county council or deputy in place.
Oh, time to start talking about it,
I
yeah.
don't know exactly what the next step is, but now we kind of got it set temporarily until we got through all her problems.
Everybody's problems with that.
Yeah.
Do you want me to set an executive session to talk about internal staffing and your plan forward?
Yeah, I guess. I don't
Is that
know,
appropriate?
I don't know what we needed to do, but hadn't done anything.
You've got internal plays, you've got
Right.
the staffing, so.
Yeah, like I said, just what's the
Yeah.
next step?
Yeah.
I think we need to.
Yeah, you have a couple
Yeah.
options, but I think.
Okay.
Don't we need to get reports from like Jacob on what's going on with outside counsel and also the outside counsel before we move forward on that, or?
I mean, we don't necessarily have to. It's an option for you guys to consider and weigh, but
I think I'm up to date on what's going on with David, but
yeah, he's potentially also gonna be out for some time.
yeah.
Can I ask a question one more time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Could we get something from him on what his objections are?
Yeah, I'm, yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't wanna, hear that.
no.
Potentially what I could do is just ask if there's somebody else in the firm that can take it over.
He was saying he had people.
Yeah, I can talk with, and see if we can do that.
I know that's supposed to be kind of summed up by the end of August,
Yeah.
September-ish, and which would be a good time for him, I think, to work on this particular subject.
How was the one who's helping you out and how's he doing getting you caught up?
He's doing relatively well. He's keeping me up to speed. I have yet to see much work product yet. Which is, I understand why. We have deadlines coming up and we're still gonna work through them. Not at the point of concern, but I would stress that having, a deputy or, if you choose to go, having somebody in the office would be good to have.
Actually, that's the whole thing I thought we needed to discuss, that we just, we had to put aside for a while, but like I say, executive session to see what's working now and what isn't, what needs to be done moving forward.
Yeah. Yes, you kind of have there in mind, but a couple of two issues, you got internal staffing and contracted external, that you want to combine some like both or both one or the other.
Yeah.
So naturally, we need a report necessarily, we just need your input.
Yeah.
Yeah, how it's going.
How it's
What we need to do,
Yeah.
what we need to do moving forward.
I think that would be good. So I will find time on the schedule. That will be you
Yeah, this Thursday, huh?
and, yeah, if it's possible.
It's been
Okay with that.
pretty light schedule, so next,
Yeah.
especially with this,
Mhm.
you don't have really anything on.
Thank you.
It does for you guys.
But it's the last week of the month tends to be
Mhm.
less going on, so it might be time to have it. I'm not shooting for an executive session, but I think it's something needs to be done.
Yeah. Good point.
Go ahead. They had a thing. Good hearing after the.
I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn after this afternoon's intergovernmental lunch.
Second that.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn after the intergovernmental luncheon. All in favor? Aye.